Rain or shine, it's here to make you laugh. It's the Steamboat Comedy Podcast. It's the Steamboat Comedy Podcast. And now your host,
always the,
Kyle Ruff.
TV guide. Oh, I thought it was like the See What's on TV Right Now channel.
Channel 3 was always like the channel so you could watch TV. Like that's where the antenna came in, was channel 3. And you use a different remote to actually switch between the four.
Or if you were playing like N64, you had to put it on channel 3.
Okay. I thought that was just input. I thought also there was a channel like you would go to it and it would say, it would be like the TV guide pretty much. It would just tell you what's on.
I was
right
poor.
now.
I didn't have cable, so
It was
I didn't have that.
Kyle and I grew up in the
prepubescent.
90s in the Midwest. We had CBS, Fox, PBS, and NBC and ABC.
You guys, when did you first get cable?
I got cable, so when I think my parents bought cable when I was like 14, and we got rid of it when I was like 15. We had it for like a year and a half, and they're like, "Fuck
just
this."
Weren't into cable.
Well, we had where we lived. Like, if you were one block over, you'd get cable, but if you were on our street, you could only get satellite. And like, so we got satellite, but it was also like so windy and shit that our satellite never worked. And then they kept like raising the price of satellite, and my parents were like, "Fuck you, Kyle. We don't care if you want to watch Monday Night Football. We're not doing this." And I was like, "Oh man." Yeah. So that was when I got rid of it.
I didn't get cable or internet until I was 17.
You didn't get internet until you were 7? Not even dial-up?
No, we finally got dial-up internet when I was 17.
What?
Yep.
What were you jerking off to? Sorry to
I'm
jump
literally
right to
about to ask. Did you
Were
have to
you
get
about to as well?
magazines? Like a dinosaur?
Imagination. I had a young Lindsay Lohan poster above my bed.
Fucking Professor X over here using his imagination.
Yeah, just flying through the fucking space. Flying through space and time, just having my own.
Just banging like
It has nothing to do.
dragons and
It doesn't have anything to do with women. It's more just energy.
he's banging Atreyu from the Neverending Story.
Exactly. No, I didn't get cable or internet until then. I just had basic shit. It was out of principle. We would say we want cable or we want internet so we could do this and that, and my dad
Your
was
dad
just more
would be
like, go
"Go out."
outside.
He'd be like, "Go chop wood."
Yeah, he was just like, no, just you get your own money, you could buy your own internet and cable if that's what you want. But it came to a point where it's like, my mom needed it for work, we needed it for like research papers and email and all that.
Research.
Yeah, exactly.
Heavy
Sounds like you had a
research.
good dad. Happy Father's Day to all.
Oh, happy Father's Day.
Oh yeah, happy Father's Day. Did
Shit,
you call
I need
your
to
dad?
call my dad as soon as this podcast is over.
You son of a bitch.
I texted him earlier, but I need to call him.
See, I had an excuse. My dad's driving through Canada and he doesn't have service.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well-
I have an excuse to you. My dad's dead.
Hey.
He's not. He's alive. Love you, Dad.
Oh,
He's never
geez.
listening.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw you FaceTime him like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, he's
He's like, that's not my dad.
he is alive.
Well, I literally for a second I was like, wait, was that a stepdad? Fuck. I don't remember.
Just bring it to a halt right
He's
here.
like,
Happy Father's Day to all except me, because my dad's dead.
Reed's going to put down the cat because it won't shut the fuck up. Oh, also, welcome to the Steamboat Comedy Podcast.
Back at it.
Back at it.
After a little hiatus.
Actually, this is probably the shortest hiatus we've had in a very long time.
Still a hiatus.
That's all we do.
Come back
Is
from
hi-
hiatus.
Is hiati? Is that the plural?
Hiati.
Hiati.
It's like cactus, but with
I'm
hiatus.
back from hiatus.
Yes. I'm back from the hiatus. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it's a samurai word. Hiatus. Anyways, my name is Kyle Ruff. Joining you yet again. To my right is Matt Newland. Say hello.
Peace to all, my loves.
It's kind of gay. And then across is Reed.
Hail Satan, fuckers.
That was
Yeah.
way more metal, dude.
Yeah,
Take note.
no, that's what we do. It's a juxtaposition. I'm super cool and he's a dick.
You're
and
the- you're the
Kyle,
angel
as
the-
always, is a centrist, yes.
And I have no radical opinions about anything.
You just want us to burn, yeah.
Yes.
We got a readcast. A readcast coming in hot.
We got a Reed appearance back
have a
on the
Reed
program.
Appearance. I had to make an appearance because we had a very important topic to my life today.
We did. We were going to, I guess we should just jump right into it. I don't know if
Fucking
there's anything
A,
else to
you know.
catch up on. Other than come see us this weekend with Corey David. It's going to be a great time.
Yep, and we'll plug that 18 more times during this podcast.
At least.
And
Yep.
you had a show today.
And we, well,
Not really.
we can hit it quick. We've been doing open mics with Steamboat Creates in
Yep.
town, which
Yeah,
is
we
kind
have.
of like the art center of Steamboat over at the train depots where we went and saw Cabaret with Kaylin Smith. Shout out to Kaylin Smith.
The very lovely Kaylin Smith.
The very lovely Kaylin Smith. But yeah, we did just a little open mic there.
It's a cool ass room. If you could pack it out, it'd be a great show. But
yeah, I'm kind of starting to think like maybe we should do that.
I think that could be a good idea, and that is a good idea.
A good idea.
Not even could be a good idea. I think it is a good idea.
Well, we'll circle back. We'll circle back for that.
Circle back to
I mean,
it.
we got a good thing going with Schmiggity's.
Write that down.
Write it down. Anyways, so come see us this weekend at Schmiggity's Friday and Saturday night with Corey David. It's going to be a great time. But let's get down to brass taxation, as they say.
Without
which
representation,
is,
baby.
It's also theft. We all just watched the incredible George Carlin documentary, The American Dream. Is that what it's called? Is it The American Dream?
Or
George?
The American Dream.
I think it's George Carlin's American Dream.
Yeah.
Directed by Judd Apatow, the great Judd Apatow. Friend of the show. Shout out Judd Apatow.
King of the comedy. Friend of the show. He listens every week.
He listens every week. We were the basis for the movie Funny People. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
People think it was Adam Sandler. He just happened to be it.
Yeah, Leslie Mann was based off of me. Yeah. I'm a very sensitive 40-year-old woman.
That you are.
She actually had to thin down to play that role, believe it or not.
Fucking horse of a woman, that Leslie Mann.
There's one good line, speaking of Funny People, before we get into that.
Yeah.
One good line from Funny People, maybe in the whole movie. I don't know. It wasn't that great. I kind of liked it, though.
Yeah, we had his up and down.
Yeah, there's one good line where, like, they're at the ex's house, and Seth Rogen's, like, getting anxious and shit. He's like, all right, I need to go to the store and get some cigarettes. And Adam Sandler's like, why? And he goes, because I'm addicted to them.
Because I'm addicted to them?
Yeah.
There's a funny part in that movie where he's talking to the doctor, and the doctor's just like, oh, it's very nice to meet you. I love all of your movies. He's like, I love all of your movies too. He goes, which ones? He goes, the ones where you try to kill Bruce Willis.
Because he looks like Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, he looks like a big old like Eastern European terrorist. Yeah.
No, it is a good movie. I actually liked it.
It's
well, since
classic
we're
Judd
going
Apatow
around-
because it's like dramatic more than it is. anything.
He's good at. He's the master of like the very funny rom-com.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
But no, my
God,
favorite.
he is. That's a good way to put
Right?
it. Yeah.
But yeah, like Knocked Up, very funny, but it's a rom-com.
Kind of a rom-com. Yeah.
Funny People, same thing. 4-Year-Old Virgin. That's exactly what it is.
It might be the best rom-com of all time now that we're thinking about
Honestly,
it. 4-Year-Old Virgin.
It's up there.
It's definitely
any
up there.
qualms?
Dude, I get chills when they're playing when he's on the bike trying to chase her down to the end, and they start playing the Asia song. I'll never be so bad.
Dun dun.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my
One
goose
look from
pumping
you
up.
and I would fall from grace.
He said
Yes.
from the beginning that he never wanted to make straight comedies of silly. He wanted to make dramatic, emotional movies that happened to be funny.
Right.
And he nailed it.
Of
Absolutely. Because of?
fucking
Freaks and Geeks?
no, what's the dude? I was just Gary Shandling.
Oh, Gary Shandling.
Yeah, he was a protege of Gary Shandling. That's
Sure.
like all of Gary Shandling.
God,
was
I kind
about
of
was
want to
like
go back and watch all of Gary Shandling.
have a message. We'll watch the Speaking of documentaries, watch the Gary Shandling documentary that Apatow also did
Okay.
because it'll fucking wrap a lot of that
And,
shit
and
up.
that seems to be the approach he took to the Carlin doc, where it's a serious documentary about a serious philosopher. It just happens to be really funny
Oh, yeah.
because it's George Carlin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, before we jump in, I want to give you my favorite line from Funny People.
Yes.
I thought about it was James Taylor is.
Oh,
doing-
yeah!
He's doing the show. James Taylor is doing the show with Adam Sandler. And it's James Taylor, I guess, opens, and then Adam Sandler's doing his thing afterwards as his character, and Seth Rogen and Jason Schwartzman are the comics who open for him. And Seth Rogen is just sitting next to James Taylor, who's playing himself, and they're just kind of standing there, and it's like awkward and quiet. He just goes, "You ever get tired of playing the same songs all the time?" And James Taylor kind of pauses and goes, "You ever get tired of talking about your dick?" And he just kind of like gives a nod, like fair point, and then that's the whole scene. Anyways, so
good.
The George Carlin doc was
4 hours, 2 parts.
Yes, if you haven't seen it, it's on HBO. It's 2 parts. They have like 2 episodes. There's a part 1, part 2. Both are about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Give or take. In my mind, just quick thoughts off the bat. That doc solidified Carlin as the best to ever do it.
Oh, there it is. He said it.
I'm throwing down the
That's a
gauntlet.
hot take.
Which, I mean,
That's a hot take.
it's not too hot of a take because everyone
not.
had him in basically the top 2.
Piping hot take.
It's-
Bold.
Watch your hands.
That's
That's a
bold.
hot take.
Can I just
Yeah,
can I
no,
just
I
say
agree.
something? Led Zeppelin's a great band.
Oh my god! Whoa, dude!
I'm just gonna say it.
I'm just gonna say it. You guys. I really like the Beatles, but
Well, it is. It's always Pryor or Carlin.
it's always Pryor or Carlin.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, nothing against Pryor, but the insane longevity that
Yeah.
Carlin had, and also how many different hats he wore,
He wore a lot of hats.
how many things he did.
He revolutionized as an artist. He changed so much.
So
he was great. Then he sucked. Then he came back. He was greater. Like,
right. And but it was never, when he changed, it was never like I have to fit in necessarily. It was more like I'm finding a new like part of myself. I'm finding a new voice.
Yes.
And he was also, on the same note, like him and Richard Pryor both did movies. I thought, I don't know. I never thought that Pryor was that great in movies. I thought he was a better stand-up than he was an actor. As much as he
Definitely.
Yeah.
he did a lot of movies though. I mean, he had those movies with like Gene Wilder and shit like that. I don't think any of them really hold up.
What's the one around the train? It's like the Silver Bullet or something
Blazing
like
Saddles?
that. Yes. It's
Is that what
Blazing
you're
Saddles.
talking about?
That's the other black guy from the 70s.
No.
No, I thought he was okay. This is derailing it. I mean, Carlin wasn't a great actor either, though.
He was
Aside
so
from
People
Dogma.
casted him to be Carlin. They were like, we need this
Yeah.
guy just
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this exact part.
well. It's funny though, because I grew up when they showed in the documentary that Happy Time Station.
Yeah.
That's how that was like Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah.
That's how I knew Carlin. I grew up when I was like
That's so crazy.
when I was like 4 to like 6 years old. That was my shit. That was my favorite TV show, and George Carlin was the conductor.
That's wild.
And like as much as like my mom, shout out to my mom because she listens to the show. My mom is not like necessarily like a raunchy person. Like she's, like a in her personal life relatively straight laced and like was like our youth group leader in church and things like that.
Sure.
But she was always kind of like, there was like a hint when she'd be like, dude, George Carlin, like he's the man.
Really?
Like, yeah. Oh, always. She was like, it was always kind of insinuated that like she loved George Carlin and it was because he would say wild shit. And my mom was like, this guy's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so even from like a young age, I'd be like, I remember like that guy. He's the conductor. My mom would kind of be like, yeah, he's also the man. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, right on.
Yeah.
So yeah, from a young age, I don't know. Carlin was always just like there in the background. Whenever I saw him, I wasn't like, who's this guy? I was like, oh, he's fucking George Carlin.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. He's just the best. And like I said, he's been through so many things, so many voices. Yeah, I don't know how to approach it. Should we like walk through the whole thing? I don't know how to necessarily spoil
Well,
it
for
people.
starters, like I was telling Matt, if there's any reason to see this, it's rare when you watch a documentary more than once for entertainment value. You can watch a movie 1,000 times because you love it, but once the message is across, you're never going back to watch it again. The only documentary I've watched more than once is Religulous, just because it's funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, but other than that, like no one's like watching Bowling for Columbine.
6 Days
or,
in the
like,
Making. The South Park dudes. I've watched that one like 4 or 5
Have
times.
you really?
Oh no
Yeah.
shit! Nice.
What's
Yeah,
that?
have you-
That's only like 45 minutes or an
It's
hour.
like a little over an hour.
Is it a
I
little
think,
over an hour? Okay,
and
that
a
is
half.
really good.
That
But
was fuck. But anyway,
This
Yeah.
documentary
Neil
though
deGrasse
about
Tyson.
Carlin, I could watch this over and over and over again just to remind myself how enlightening it is to be an American.
Yeah.
Just like this is like I can't wait to sit my kids down and be like, get ready. I'm
Yeah.
about to show you one of the most important voices in human history, and you have to start from his childhood to the day he dies to understand him fully. There is no
Oh, yeah.
fast way. You got to watch the whole thing.
Definitely me like showing the beginning and all the transformations. Like I knew that he had kind of like I'd seen pictures of him in his like the 7 dirty words phase. I
Yeah.
don't think I'd ever seen him when he was that young doing like the hippy dippy weatherman shit.
yeah.
So
But-
I grew up with these box sets of Johnny Carson. My mom had like the best of Johnny Carson. That was my first introduction to him. So I got to see
Nice.
him like in black and white in the 60s on Johnny Carson doing the hippy dippy weatherman, and then doing his rants with a gray beard in the 80s and shit. And like that was my first introduction. I was just like, this guy's a big deal. I haven't even dove into him yet, and he's about as important to pop culture in my family as like John Lennon.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
I didn't find out about Carlin until, this is embarrassing, but until college,
Really?
which is wild. I knew like who Bill Burr was before I was like.
Before you knew who George Carlin
I
was?
swear to God.
Wow.
Yeah. It's fucking it's kind of embarrassing, but it's the truth. And I
Yeah,
remember,
you should be fucking embarrassed.
Like,
I'm not
I don't even know
embarrassed.
why you're
I
my
don't give a
friend.
shit,
Like,
really. Oh, Carlin's good at stand-up. Big deal.
You're kind
You
of a
guys-
fucking loser.
Oh my
dude.
God. I love Ron White's the best to ever do it, and I'll die by that. All right. And
You
he's
don't
out
actually
there.
believe that.
I love
He's
Ron White.
Ron,
love Ron White,
Ron
too.
White's a genius, man.
Yeah.
He's
what's up.
really good. But
Anyways,
when I discovered,
I mean to
when I
Ellen
discovered-
digressiness.
don't Ellen digress show me. All right, Neil digress Tyson. I wonder how many puns we can get of that. But I remember.
I was trying to get a way to get Degrassi in there, but I didn't know how to make it. I don't know how to fit it
Yeah.
in quick.
It can be done.
Okay, give me a second. I'll come up with it.
Yeah, no worries.
Continue.
Next time we digress, throw it in.
Time is relative.
Yes. A flat circle.
But I remember like what the documentary did for me was just remind me of how fucking badass Carlin was. Didn't give a fuck.
Didn't give a single fuck.
You say like a lot of people don't give a fuck when they go on
This
stage
guy
and all these
actually,
guys.
especially when he was older too.
Dude,
Yeah.
He would
calling
literally get on stage and be like,
everyone
"I
out.
fucking don't care about any of you,"
No,
and people would be
fuck
like,
you guys. fuck what's going on.
"Yeah."
Can all suck my dick.
It almost
It
got
was
kind of
like,
dark, like
whoa.
Colbert was saying when he was like, "Yo, that one, the second to last special." He's like, "I wasn't that into it." He's like, "It kind of like made me sad."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was just could not give it a fuck anymore.
Yeah, it's the one where it's not the last one; it's the second to last one. I think it's called "You Are All Diseases" or something like that. But he's got all the gravestones around him.
Yeah.
That one's really dark.
His last one I religiously like watched on repeat in high school. It was called "It's Bullshit and It's Bad for You."
Oh,
And
Was
he
that
did-
2008 was
No,
I think
that was
Jamming in
2006.
New York was 2008.
that was the fucking one I watched.
Jamming
and I
in
was
New
like,
York is one of the
whoa.
best.
And that yeah,
Like, you can say
it
this
was
type
really
of shit.
really really good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But like that was the biggest thing too. We talked about before that one of the things that made Norm Macdonald so great is that he wasn't afraid to bomb.
The
Yeah.
only
He
other guy
just
you can say didn't give a fuck.
Didn't
No.
care. He
Yeah.
was just like, what was the phrase he said? Like, being a comic is like being a superhero. You're not going to save everyone, so you just got to go out and just say fuck it.
Right.
George Carlin, the only person I personally know who has seen George Carlin live is my buddy Nick, who is shout out to Nick Carlesimo.
Nick Carlesimo.
Friend of the show.
Big
Friend of the show.
influential person in my life. He saw George Carlin like a few years before he died in Lansing. He went to school at
No
Michigan
shit.
State, and he said most of his friends that went didn't think it was funny and didn't laugh.
Do you think that's
He said-
because he
it was
was
it was a pre-scripted rant from start to finish for an hour,
Good.
and all it did was shit on big governments and corporations. He shat on East Michigan State big time, and like he said, there were a few chuckles, but it was more like being a class.
like more of like a lecture?
Yeah,
That's how I always thought about, because a guy who gets compared to him all the time is Bill Hicks.
yes,
And when I
Yeah.
watch Bill Hicks comedy, I've only seen, I think, one special and a few other clips, but I was always like, this is smart and I get it, but I'm
Yeah.
not laughing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the way I always felt watching him. I was like, this is like, that's a good point. There's no punchline there.
But it also
Yeah.
it leads to the fact like we were talking about earlier. We're like, man, everyone says, I wish we knew what Carlin would think about what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And that can also be said for Bill Hicks, though.
Very
I
true.
would be like,
yes.
Very
I wonder what
true.
the fuck Bill Hicks would want to say about this.
Yeah.
And that goes more to like the philosopher. Like Carlin was the first comedian to be the philosopher, or was
philosopher
Lenny
come on.
Bruce that guy?
I,
Was he was more of like
I don't know Lenny Bruce well enough to answer that question.
I think
didn't
he
know
was
he
more
a
of just
philosopher.
no. He was
Not in
more
the
of like
same way.
groundbreaking as far as like material, but he wasn't like thinking about society as a whole. It
Okay.
wasn't going.
From
as
what I get,
deep,
like, he
not
would-
nearly.
He would point things out that he thought were absurd, but he didn't have any like revelation.
Revolution, dude. That's a lotion.
Like the
That's a lotion for
the fucking
libertarians.
Yes, the revolution.
Revolution. Brought to you by the Libertarian Party.
Right here on the arm.
You could rub some revolution on that revolution
that's,
tattoo.
that's how it doesn't dry out. That's how liberty doesn't dry out.
But
Anyways,
as far as like philosophy and comedy goes,
yeah, I don't
that's
think
was
that no one
Carlin.
ever talks about Lenny Bruce in that way.
Uh-uh.
Kind of like the guy said in the documentary, and same with like Pryor for that matter, and a lot of other comics that are great. Like not only was Carlin so unique and so funny, because like we were talking about earlier, like not only would he give you some insight about like, pollution and shit that you wouldn't think about before, but also it'd be like, doesn't it suck when like you got to pick wedgies out of your ass?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that, the
Apatow
whole
did a
spectrum.
great fucking job on that. Too.
Yes.
He was
I love how they
Don't forget that he was also funny as fuck.
silly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still,
And that's
still
like-
love fart jokes and shit. Yeah.
That's like South Park to me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
Trey Parker might be the next closest to that, where it's like, I'm gonna make a brilliant point and a comment on society, and also like
A
there's
dancing
gonna
piece
be,
of poop.
So yeah, someone's gonna shit all over the walls
Yeah.
in this episode.
You get a few
of
Jew
what-
jokes in there as well.
Yes, exactly.
I like how
I
they
agree
pointed
with
out
that.
his format for every HBO special, because I started to see a trend in it as a young kid. The more and more I watched him, he always opens with a really weird, silly joke, carries the crowd, and the third act is the dark philosophical shit, and then it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always comes out, the first thing is like, you ever stare through a chain link fence and you swear it's fucking moving, and then everyone just dies.
Everyone's
he
like,
just
fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just goes with that. It's the same fucking thing. That was the other thing I didn't know until watching the documentary. He rehearsed every single show from start to finish and recorded it before he ever did it.
Yeah.
That is so, oh my
Well, that's
God.
That's the juxtaposition, like we were saying, like he didn't give a fuck, but also he was a perfectionist, which
Yes,
is the opposite.
yes,
you know
yes.
what I mean? Which is wild. Like he was so meticulous in his writings, and he would record his whole set, and he would like tell the director like the laughter is going to be here, and I'm going to pause for this long, and I'm going to do this.
Damn, yeah.
Which is insane, and also didn't give a fuck at the same time.
Yeah.
At least as far as like, or I don't know, maybe that's all an act, and like we were talking about earlier too.
But I think the shit
Done.
he was saying was portraying that he didn't give a fuck.
Right.
He was, again, meticulous about the shit he was saying.
If he's
so
like,
he gave a fuck.
if I'm going to
about
do it, I'm
that.
going to do it right.
Yeah.
He gave a shit about that, but the jumble of
Right.
the meat of the material was
I don't
fuck
care.
you guys,
He was
yeah.
meticulous about the message, but he didn't give a fuck if you liked the message.
the
Exactly.
message
That's a
was
way to say
go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and
I
that's
hate
was
you
you're a
guys.
disease.
Yeah.
And you're fucking plague on
That
the
also they also touch on the documentary about like a lot of comics are like, you got to write on stage, that's what we do, and they're like, Carlin never wrote on stage.
Yeah.
He knew everything he was gonna say from the minute he went on fucking stage.
Yeah.
to the minute he got off.
Yeah.
And that's maybe that's where the difference between comedian and philosopher goes.
Probably.
You know what
He
I mean?
was this fucking close to being a professor. He was that close. It was his wife who said, no, I'll help you put the show together and I'll help you go on the road.
Oh.
Because he was about to say, fuck it, I want to take care of my family. I can get a job being a professor. He could have just been this lecturer at Berkeley forever.
And think how good he would have been at that.
Oh, my
Holy
God.
That's basically
shit.
what he was
would have gotten
doing.
fired, bro.
I mean,
Or he would have
the
changed
university
that
would've been like,
university.
you
Who
cannot
knows?
be
back,
saying
back
this
in
shit.
the day, the universities were the place where you could say shit, and nowadays
Okay,
they're
that's a
not.
good point.
Which is
Going back to what he would think today, he would probably look at what universities are doing to young people right now. He'd just be like, they're a bunch of fucking mind-numbing ghouls.
Oh yeah,
You know? Yeah.
and that's again like the thing is like if Carlin was here today,
Yeah.
his take on universities, I think that most people in universities would not like it.
His take on COVID would have been legendary.
Oh, it
His
would have been
take on
incredible.
like COVID would have just been, here we go, no rights.
Yeah,
None of us have rights.
exactly. He's like, you guys are gonna give it up for some sniffles. It's like something like that. I
Oh,
can almost
my
picture him
yeah.
saying it.
The one of the main reasons that I am the libertarian that I am today is because of listening
That's the
to
title
George.
of his book.
It's just him pausing, like in the thinking position.
The whole reason I am in that mindset today straight up is because of his explaining about Japanese internment camps in World War II in America.
Yep.
He's saying,
Yeah.
oh, you think you have rights? And he explains to these people why they don't have rights. Is like without due process, without a court or a lawyer. They said, get on the fucking train and get in the fucking,
Yeah.
go to the camp because you don't have any rights. And they explained how because of that, they all go away all of a sudden. They're known as this threat in St. Louis. So what does that do? That creates barbershops where they put no fucking Asians allowed. And it creates this racism. And you want to talk about the government creating racism in this country without even realizing they did it in the first place. How fucking relevant is that today?
Oh, very much so.
Oh my God! Like he
Oh,
was
yeah.
just like I can go on and on and on and
Yeah.
on and on that he was just so right about all of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. No, and he's very critical of the whole concept of rights, which is spot on because like the Bill of Rights is these things that we're supposed to have guaranteed, and like basically from the get, the government doesn't actually give a fuck. I mean, they were arresting journalists during the World Wars and shit for speaking out against the war, you know?
Yeah.
And that was all while the First Amendment existed.
Yep.
That's actually, a lot of people don't know, little history fun fact. The whole idea, we've all heard the idea with the First Amendment is yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. Like, are you allowed to do that? That trial had absolutely nothing about yelling, had nothing to do with yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. That trial was about journalists protesting the war and the government arresting them. And it had nothing. I mean, that was a hypothetical that they came up with. Like, well, are you allowed to yell fire in a crowded movie theater? And they were like, okay, that's the line. But then out of that, they were like, well, you are allowed to criticize the war. But the people who were on trial, the reason I went to the Supreme Court, had nothing to do with anyone yelling fire in a movie theater.
Okay.
It was about journalists who were saying, hey, this war is horseshit, and then the feds would just arrest them.
That's fucked.
Fun facts.
Cal's all about fun facts these days.
I am.
It's
I love
taking
them.
over your life. Dude.
I'm obsessed. I have a problem with fun facts.
What's another fun fact? I gotta find one.
Get on Instagram. There's got to be something about golden eagles.
Like, Kyle, that fact's not even fun. I'm like, all facts are fun. Watch it. Anywho,
that's a Tom Segura joke. He's just like, yeah, you'll be at dinner with somebody. It's just like, this spoons were actually made in the Roman times to build aqueducts. Like, will you please shut the fuck up?
right.
Will you please shut the fuck up?
But I'm sorry, like Drake in a wheelchair, I digressy. There it is.
Hey.
Where are we at in the documentary? Talking about
We can talk about his wife.
Yeah,
How she turned into an alcoholic, but she was also like the wind beneath his fucking wings.
Well, what's
they were
amazing-
married for like 40 years or something.
It's incredible, like especially now with celebrity marriages, like Willy Wonka versus the Chocolate Factory. That's Amber Heard trial is what I'm saying.
He got it.
There it is.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a poop joke.
Thank you.
I'm sure I'm not the first one to say
That
that.
is so
But fuck
great.
it, you can
I
only
love
make it so many times before it's irrelevant. So go for it.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep hammering
Yeah.
that one home.
At work, we're saying it now. If they're just like, "Hey, Reek, can you go down and get this?" I'll say Amber instead of Heard.
Nice.
So you did there. But like, it's so rare to see a celebrity marriage actually go the distance.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Till
not only did they go the distance, but they did it through like
Shit.
absurd, and maybe that's what kept them together, as they kind of went through the shit together with their family
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. You know,
But he was a road comic the whole fucking time.
the whole time.
Even when he got super famous for the 7 Dirty Words, 3 years later, he was back on the road doing fucking half empty rooms.
Yeah,
It's like, holy shit.
yeah. He's
George Carlin had to do that.
yes,
Yeah.
He lived for it, and like even at the end when he had his show, and he was just like when he's on Larry King, and he's like, people liked the show and it got good ratings, but he's like, not for me. I'm a road comic,
Yeah.
and that's the way it is.
Yeah, he was on the
You
set
know?
of Dogma talking to Chris Rock, and Chris Rock's like, "Can you give me any advice about show business?" He goes, "Oh, I'm not in show business. I'm a comedian." He's like, "That's gangster as fuck."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, we're sitting on a movie set. And You're telling me this.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm
You know?
not here for this dumb shit. Yeah.
He's like, this thing we're doing, dumb. I can't wait to leave.
Oh my god! And how we could take a sidetrack to just talk about that great role. Oh my
in
god!
Dogma?
As the Cardinal, just
Yeah.
like the tobacco companies, if we had their numbers, because it's such a perfect fucking thing for him.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, he's just
Yeah.
George Carlin's take on religion alone can be just a class.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In general, he has never put it more. No one's put it more perfectly.
No
Than
one
the-
has
than the religious
influenced my
bullshit.
take on religion more than fucking George Carlin.
Oh yeah.
N-
I mean, like,
Bar
like,
none.
It's
like you
perfect.
said, the one documentary you've seen, Religious,
Yeah.
more than once. That's basically just an extension of that George Carlin.
Oh, 100%.
That's all it is. And I think he even plays clips from it in the documentary.
Yep.
I believe.
He absolutely does.
Yeah.
And it's also the start of what's that great documentary? Zeitgeist.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say that's one of the things that changed my
That's a good
life
doc.
and my political view is Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if all of it actually holds up, but it was one of the first things I saw that made me really question everything. And a big chunk of that is them playing George Carlin's Religion is Bullshit bit.
But he loves you.
But he loves you.
And he needs more money.
Money. He's all knowing, all powerful. Just can't handle money. It's just
It's so fucking great.
He also, when he talks about how they're in heaven smiling down, they're up there just the face he
Just,
makes,
yeah.
smiling down.
Well, that was part of his thing why he could get away with being a philosopher and just like saying his thoughts, because he could just make a good point and just make the most ridiculous mannerisms with
Oh my
it,
God.
and that was the punchline.
Yeah.
You'd watch
know what I
it
mean?
silent, and you'd laugh at his facial expressions.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, dude.
So good. And the voices and the sound effects. Oh, they showed when he was early on and he was doing the radio thing. And he's like,
Oh, dude, that was so
Yeah,
fucking
I was
talented.
like, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was out of fucking control.
Incredible. Like, he was so, I mean, and he said that kind of in the beginning. He's like, I was always good with words. My piece of shit father, like, won some, like, speech award.
Yeah.
And then it towards the end, when it shows him, I can't remember what show he was on, but he brought his mother on. And he was kind of saying how his mother was like a piece of shit. He obviously didn't like his mother. But when you watch his mother answering questions, you're like, that's George Carlin. Like, she
Yeah.
had the same facial expressions, the same timing, and she like stopped the host and like look at him and be like, well,
Yeah.
since Georgie was like this. And
Yeah.
like I was like, I see where it came from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, as much as like he didn't like his parents had his problems, I was like, well, he was raised in the perfect environment to be that wordsmith and be that impressionist and the sound effects and everything, you know.
He's
It's
a
a
perfect
perfect storm.
example that a lot of comedians come from some sort of childhood drama or shit household or something that really just they damaged goods.
Yeah.
A lot of comedians are damaged goods and they use comedy as their outlet, and he's absolutely the pinnacle of that. Like he just said, like, you know, my life is such shit that I needed to have humor or else I couldn't exist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first part is very biographical. It really follows like his early life up into his rise and everything. The second half to me is this is what he was trying to say, and this is like where the shit gets really fucking awesome that we see that we were left over with today.
Well, it's amazing this because none of his HBO specials are in the first half.
No.
And you realize like how long, because that's when he really hit his stride.
Yeah.
As when he did his first HBO special, and people were, I remember, what was it?
Was that the one where he didn't like it though? At the end of it, he was like, "Fuck, that sucked."
No, I don't think so. Well,
And then
I mean,
it fucking blew up. Because I thought
The-
it was
the
the
first
first
one you mean?
HBO special he did when he got off. He was like, "God, I fucking wish I would have done
Yeah.
2 tapings."
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
only did it in one
Okay.
taping. He's like,
Okay,
"I wish I
fine.
would have done 2." And then 5 days later, it was the most talked about thing.
yeah.
He was like, "Oh, maybe 1 was okay."
Well, who was it that was being interviewed, and they were like, George Carlin's like, they didn't have. I think it might have been Kevin Smith, when they were like, he was like,
Shout out to Kevin Smith. Love Kevin Smith.
Yeah, friend of the
show.
he big fan. When he's like his father like didn't have the verbiage for it, he's like, he's just gonna go up there and tell jokes for an hour.
Yeah.
It's just like this. Everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
And now that's just like everyone's like, oh, you got a special? Like he's got a special, and it's all an hour. And he set the standard
Yeah.
for like what a comedy special taping is.
Yeah.
Was kind of like what you read between the lines there, you know.
Yeah.
And not only the standard of the special, but having multiple specials not far apart from each other.
Yeah, I mean, he did one every like
Turning
3
over
years,
material,
basically. Yeah.
And
That's important. He kept the schedule to it.
Yeah.
He's like, if I'm going to do this, I got to turn it around. Just like Louis C.K. is just like, you know, every January 1st, I throw it all out and I start again.
So
yeah.
that's Louis the new standard, where Louis cranks out a new hour special like every year or a year and a half or something like that.
Unless he gets caught jerking off. And then he's got to take a 5-year
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
Shout out to Louis C.K., friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Louis C.K.
I'd watch Louis jerk off in front of me.
I mean, if he asked,
Yeah.
which apparently he did. So, I mean, I'd be like,
But
okay,
even like he
yeah.
said, he goes, even if you ask
I'd
and they
probably
say
say
yes,
no.
don't do it.
Just don't
So
do
funny.
it.
Just don't do it. It's like, you know, that was when he first came back. He's like, yeah, everyone's got your thing. He's like, well, everybody in America knows my thing.
Obama knows my
Obama
thing.
That's such a good line. Obama knows my thing.
Well, that's funny because that just reminded me. We
Yeah,
saw
sidetrack.
Broken Lizard, the group, the comedy group that made Super Troopers.
Yeah, Club
And
Dread. I
Club
just watched
Dread.
Beer Fest. I love those. Those
Amazing.
fucking great movies.
So they did a live show in college, and I think I might have told this story before on the show about how I like kind of like got a chance to hang out with them a little bit while they were there, which was awesome. But that was there was a point in the show where Kevin Heffernan, Farva,
the big dude.
just
Yeah.
went up and like basically did like stand up in the middle of it. But he was talking about how in Super Troopers, when he's the scene where they're throwing powdered sugar on him, and they're calling
Yeah.
it de-licer or whatever,
yeah.
or de-louser. I can't remember.
The
but-
lice hate the sugar.
Yes, they hate the sugar. It's delicious. but his dick is out in it, and like he's sitting there on stage, and he's like, everyone's seen that movie. Everyone's seen my dick.
Everyone's seen my cock.
He goes, Obama said that he's seen Super Troopers. Obama's seen my dick.
That's so wild. That is so bizarre,
Yeah,
dude.
and that was while Obama was in office still. That was what, 2009 or 10.
Yeah, that was early college.
Yeah. Anyways, but I go
Neil
ahead.
digress Tyson.
Thank you.
Getting back on, but okay, so going back to the whole philosopher standpoint, how Carlin
Sure.
was the first one to do that, really be a philosopher and a comedian at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yep.
I don't know do you think that's a good thing
Yes,
for comedy?
I think it's a great thing.
You
because
do? 'Cause now
comedy.
you got a bunch of these fucking assholes.
Well, then,
Well,
I mean,
comedy is
Thinking
the
they're
only
changing
avenue
the
for it.
goddamn world.
Well, there is
one
th-
fucking joke at a time.
there is an epidemic, and this is not necessarily a hot take from us. A lot of people talk about it, especially that are in like New York and L.A. and I think even in Denver. I've seen it before a little bit of applause comedy.
Thank you. I was just about to go to that.
This
where people
self-righteous.
go up and they're just like, abortion is a human right, and everyone in the audience goes,
Yep, you seen it on Real Time with Bill Maher. You see it on The Daily Show.
yeah, and you're like, where's the fucking joke? See, that's the difference. Is Carlin would do that shit, and partially just because he's naturally funny, but also largely because he would write a punchline with it too.
Yeah.
Like he would have a point that was funny, and so he could do that and get a joke across. And that's, if you're going to be a comedian philosopher, then that's the perfect example of how to do it. And that's again like what I was saying about Bill Hicks. Is my beef with Bill Hicks. We had a lot of beef over the years, me and him.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys figured it out, though.
Yeah, I'm not actually. He just died, but
The government killed him, by the way.
did they?
You should
Just like
look
Bob
into that.
Marley,
You'd really
yep.
be into it. Yeah.
Is that like the people versus John Lennon, or
Yeah.
the government versus John Lennon?
Yeah. There's a conspiracy about it. It's pretty cool.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
He started talking shit about Waco, and then like 3 years later, he was dead.
Dude, talk about some fun facts.
Yeah.
Waco is.
Have you not seen
So
fucking Bill
fucked.
Hicks' Waco bit?
I don't think I
It
have.
was like right after it happened.
Oh God.
That's
He goes
courageous.
fucking yeah.
No,
it's
Waco
wild.
is the most fucked thing that basically ever happened.
Yeah, it's another example that these three acronym agency, another three acronym agency that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
And they're all useless.
Well, the guy who was in charge of it and like killed all the children. By the way, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I just heard that more children were killed in Waco than all school shootings combined.
no, but there were not hundreds
Oh, no, it's
of children
no,
in
I'm
that
sorry,
house.
not
But there was like
combined.
maybe 30 children that
not
died.
combined, but it's the biggest murder of children, mass murder of children.
It's real bad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
It's
real
bigger
bad.
than Columbine. It's bigger than Sandy Hook.
They locked
I'm
him in
sorry,
a
not
house
combined.
and killed him.
Yes. Well, they lit them all on fire. They all
Yeah.
burned to death. So anyways, fuck the government. But again, we Ellen digress show.
show. Come back to the Ellen Digress show.
So yeah, but the point is,
Lesbian.
like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a comedian preaching. In fact, I think that like that's one of the best parts of comedy is when you can hit at like a taboo subject or like a vein that a lot of people haven't thought about. Like you get them to see something in a different way.
Okay.
I think that's great. But you got to be funny, and you can't just be like, I support the current thing. Like, Putin is bad.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's what I was about to say. Is stand up is the only art form, the only vessel where you can say stuff that's against the grain and get away
Unless you're
with
in
it.
Canada and then
well,
go to jail.
Well, like just like what we were talking about, like on the Daily Show, on HBO, on Fox, they all have this pre-agenda where they are trying to appease, like racism's bad, everyone applauds, or like you know Putin's a really bad person. Where stand-up comedy is the only vessel where you can say like I fucking love Putin. I can't wait to hang out with him. And I'm happy that Kobe Bryant's dead. You can't.
No, Ari Shaffir tried that.
Yeah,
It
I was
didn't
about
work.
to say.
You can't do that on TV, but you can do that on a fucking stage.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll suck, or sometimes you'll be like George Carlin. But that is the only place where you can do it.
Yes.
And yeah, I think
Since Grease till now, it's just a dude in a cloak standing there. Listen to me on my soapbox.
Is that what Greece was?
No, I'm saying no. The country. God damn it.
Oh.
Oh my God. I'm talking about philosophy.
oh, I
right.
thought
I thought
John
you meant John.
Travolta?
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you believe what this tragedy
I
is?
don't know. Did she put up a fight?
What's the deal with Watergate? And so on. Anyway,
Did Lee Harvey Oswald act alone? I don't know.
what about the grassy knoll? I don't know.
So fucking stupid.
There's no way one bullet can do that much damage.
Just don't touch my hair.
Yeah, don't touch my hair. Kind of like how Kennedy's hair got touched by that bullet. How did it do that?
Oh, God.
Anyways.
Holy shit.
For a guy that loves his hair that much, he's sure in a lot of convertibles. You know what I mean? Grease, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Driving a lot of convertibles for a guy who's got good hair. And that's coming from a guy with hair.
That's a risky move.
All right,
Stuff.
here's a fun little.
Fact?
Fun fact.
No, it's an
damn
interview
it. You can just
question.
call it a fun fact,
It's an
though.
interview
You
question.
can call anything.
If
fun
George
fact.
Carlin
Really?
if George Carlin was still
What
alive,
about my stand-up?
if George Carlin was still alive and he was on Comedians in Cars getting coffee with Jerry Seinfeld, what car would he bring up to take George Carlin out to coffee?
Oh, God. A fucking...
What?
A Dodge Dart. That's what it would be. Because that's what he toured the country with his wife in.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice. That's a good answer.
I wasn't gonna say anything fancy.
That's a
You know,
nerdy
something kind of
answer,
like
dude.
Yeah.
older but
Very-
normal. Maybe like like some sort of like commuter, like a Nova, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah.
like a Navy car because he was in the Navy. What's like a... Like
Oh,
a-
that's right. He
one of
was
those-
in the Navy.
like,
Yeah.
That's
one
how
of
we
those
started.
Jeeps or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those fucking...
Humvee.
a hum. I don't know. if
Was
they
that
had
you
those.
trying to get a nerdy answer into?
Yeah, that was kind of... That's where it went. I thought we were being not funny on
Thought
this
we're being
podcast.
Carlin historians.
Yeah,
Thought we
Waco.
were not going for the joke anymore. All right.
But again, enough about my comedy. Yeah.
Speaking of the philosophy, to wrap it up, though, I think it's good that, yeah, you can do philosophy while you do stand-up, but you also don't have to.
You absolutely don't.
Going
And that's-
back to
and
Norm
that's-
Macdonald.
That's
you know
why.
what I mean?
Well, yeah, and that's why Carlin. That wasn't his whole thing, and that's
Yeah.
again the juxtaposition of Bill Hicks versus Carlin. Is Bill Hicks had less shit, and again, I don't maybe know Hicks as well as I should, but from what I've seen, he wasn't up there making dick jokes in the same way that Carlin was
No.
and sprinkling them.
He was
in
telling
between.
people in marketing to go kill themselves.
Yeah.
Have you seen that bit?
No.
It's a great bit. He literally just says, if you're in marketing, kill yourself. This is not a joke.
Kill yourself.
Yeah, it's fucking. I'm doing no justice.
I gotta maybe do some more Hicks research. But yeah.
But going back to Norm Macdonald, he's got the new joke on his special about how comedians are modern day philosophers.
Yeah.
He goes, isn't that kind of a jab at, modern day philosophers? They're out there.
That's good. Yeah.
Thinking of stuff.
They're just a little stage fright. Jesus.
Classic Macdonald.
That's really good.
Thank God now we have podcasts where everyone can be a modern day philosopher.
That's
we are sitting
right.
here spilling philosophies.
That's
out
what we
there.
do.
God damn it. Take them in. Palate
But-
them up.
Why?
I don't know.
He asked the philosopher, how's your wife? He says, compared to what?
Steve Martin was a philosophy major, and he said,
And he also didn't philosophize on stage very much. Like,
At
talk about
all,
a not
almost.
preachy guy. He was all silly, and he was
Yeah.
a philosophy major.
yeah, but he just
Fucking
had
wild.
an education in thinking outside the box. That's all. I mean, when you major in philosophy in college, you go on to work for like Fortune 500 companies, or you're a strategist for like a startup, or you're teaching. Basically, like there's no real actual job. It's just a way of thinking.
Yeah.
And people are attracted to that in a very specific sense.
Kind of like gender studies.
yeah,
but-
or just
but not useful.
liberal arts degrees in general. Yeah.
It's a way of thinking. It's not
Yeah.
good for anything. But
I
it's a
love
way of thinking.
ceramics. Yeah.
Oh God! All right, so I'm trying to think where the next jumping part is. I mean, I thought it was really interesting about because we've all three of us at this table have dabbled in the psychedelic experience,
Yeah.
Yes.
and I thought that was interesting how they just kind of straight up were like, he was the straight laced guy, and then one day he did acid,
Yeah.
and then he wasn't anymore.
Then he
Yep.
was
like it was like
long-haired.
that quick.
Yeah.
It was like
You know?
there's actually a lot of comparisons between Willie Nelson and George Carlin
Really?
because Willie Nelson, he started out being the guy who goes on Ed Sullivan and whatever. He wears the nice suit, he's trimmed up, and he's doing like the nice honky tonk country duo, with the guy on
And then he
stage.
smokes weed out of an apple
Well,
one time.
slowly but surely, he started to see this culture shift, and he's just like, wait, like how George Carlin Carlin was like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? I'm doing this slapstick comedy for these kids' parents, and I don't like the way that these Nixon people think. And that was the same way that Willie Nelson was. He was like, I want to be part of this movement because I'm a creative thinker, and I want to do things different. So that's when you started to see the ponytails and the bandana, and all of a sudden he's a lot happier. And part of that had to do, he was just in a green room with some black guys, some black jazz players, and they gave him some weed, and that was it. And he was just like, what am I fucking doing? Like,
what
oh my God. And he had the same shift. And by the way, he was like approaching his late 30s, early 40s when he did that. Same as Carlin. This wasn't some come to age thing at 18 where like, I found myself and now I'm going to do this. He was just like already had kids. He was just like, fuck all this.
Yeah,
this is stupid. Like, I don't care if people don't like me, but I'm not going to be a part of this. And they very much coincide with each other because they're doing the same time.
I don't know that much about Sir William.
But in the documentary, it says he took the acid, and then from the sounds of it, he had a quote bad trip. No such thing as a bad trip when you're really in the psychedelic game. But he didn't have a good time, and he like punched a picture of himself of the straight laced guy.
He punched it, and he was like bleeding from punching.
Yeah, he was crying in his room.
Literally, like he was killing himself.
Yeah,
which psychedelics can make.
It's the death of the ego.
That.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's a reset button.
And then he created a new hippie guy who does the 7 fucking words and blows up. I don't know. That's pretty interesting. Go out there and try some acid, or if you want to be a creative thinker, that'll
be the next podcast.
It's like Dave Chappelle says with school shooters. It's like, if you try drugs, skip school. Fuck it. If you try drugs, try drugs. It's better than killing kids. You know?
It's way better, actually.
No, it is very eye-opening. I will say it. I'm not part of. You know what? Everyone in Steamboat should do drugs.
I think they are.
Well, not fentanyl.
Don't do fentanyl.
That would be so sad if George Carlin died of fentanyl, but he just died of old age.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a heart attack or two.
After a bunch of
heart attacks from doing coke.
Wild.
But yeah.
Yeah, don't do the white powder. Stick to the mushrooms and the acid.
Yeah, unless you really want to do the white powder.
Unless you're drunk and someone has it.
That's what it's supposed.
Double diamonds.
It's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you look inside and see who you actually are, and like you said, deflate the ego. Like, you don't care about what other people think. You don't care about anything. You're purely you.
Yeah, that's when I knew I needed to stop taking acid. By the way, because I was taking it just to like, if I'd go out and have some drinks, someone's like, "You want to have tab?" I would take it, and I'd be like, "I'm not growing anymore.
You're
I'm
just
not
getting high.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get better or anything." I was like, I gotta fucking stop doing this.
Yeah.
And then, here we are. And I'm finally whole.
You did it.
I did it, and we made it, and I'm whole. And I can literally smell your dirty laundry. Or I think it's your shoes.
Yeah, that's probably my shoes. Those are my shoes from the gym.
Oh, that's definitely
nice.
I thought it was this microphone for a while. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, that makes sense because your breath smells like shit.
I have a good smelling breath. It smells like wintergreen Zins. Brought to you by Wintergreen Zins.
Wintergreen Zins.
They don't sponsor us.
The fuel of the podcast.
You know who made fun of people with backwards hats? George Carlin.
Yeah. He said that, and I was like, just grabbed my head, and I was like, I feel attacked.
I didn't like that joke personally. It kind of offended me.
Yeah. Cancel George Carlin.
I think George Carlin is a bad. No, he just wasn't funny.
Overrated.
He said one thing I didn't like.
I have a personal hatred for military recruiters who go to high schools.
Me too.
And part of that was fueled by a George Carlin joke that I heard in high school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's the one that they mentioned in the documentary where it's just like, Republicans are all against abortion until you're 18. And then they love to go kill you.
Yeah.
It's like they don't want to kill you now. They want to wait till you're 18, and then you can go off.
They want you to grow up and be cannon fodder. And
exactly.
Then, throw you out in the front line so they can make money.
It's because of hearing that, I didn't take it as a comedian. I was just like, oh my fucking God, he's right. And then I'd see these, lieutenants come to my high school with a pull-up bar in the cafeteria.
The pull-up
bar,
yes, they did the same thing.
Yeah, and these guys would go up and they do 30 pull-ups in the row. They're like, "Wow, you're a very driven young man. Have you thought about your future?" I see that and I go home and I tell my mom, I want to take that guy, throw him in a trunk, drive him to a bridge, throw him off, and watch him hit the fucking water and die because that's all he's doing to that kid.
Yeah.
And that 100% had to do with George Carlin. George Carlin's like a fucking god to me. Like
he really, I
shifted the way I think in my life.
No, and is
Fuck what Jerry. I'm not even mean to interrupt you, but like fuck what Jerry Seinfeld said at the end. He's so fucking incredibly pompous and into himself. He was
What
like,
did he say? What did he say?
He said he was talking about the philosophy of George Carlin. What he says, and the interviewer asked, "Does it make you think differently about life?" What he says, he goes, "My mind has never been changed about anything from a joke I've heard from a comedian." He said, "I've changed my mind about that comedian from jokes, but no, I've never changed my mind about anything."
It's like,
and
fuck you,
and also
dude.
hot take. That's why Jerry Seinfeld is not in the fucking same stratosphere of
Yes,
comedy.
you can only
No,
do your
he's
slapstick
in the
act.
sitcom stratosphere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was another thing too. Is then Jerry Seinfeld also, in a hypocritical way, when they were talking about the sitcom, and he was like, "I didn't want to do sitcoms, I didn't want to do TV. Like, would I have to sit and wait for someone else to talk, and then I do it?" And I'm like, "Bitch, you made all your money.
You're a
off
fucking
of that.
billionaire.
Didn't happen.
Yeah,
What would Jerry be doing?
making shitty fucking
Coming to
Netflix
Schmickenies
specials.
and doing comedy.
Yeah, right. Probably.
We're running an
We
open
could probably
mic.
book him here. Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, that
Obviously,
is kind of a pretentious way because he has to have had his mind fucking changed from a bit. He has to have.
He had to have been to become
Unless he is
who
the
he
most
is.
strong-willed, minded fucking person in the whole world.
well, honestly, Jerry
Who just-
Seinfeld probably only listens to himself and people he sees open for him. Is what it really
And
is.
Sebastian Maniscalco. So apparently he wants to blow Sebastian Maniscalco.
I don't know Sebastian Maniscalco.
You know Sebastian Maniscalco? He's like
I
one of
don't
the
know.
biggest fucking...
I just like saying Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah, he was he was
know
in
Sebastian?
fucking Irishman.
Yeah.
They whacked him in the restaurant.
That's such a bummer that's how you know him.
I'm
'Cause
sorry.
He's like a huge, he like
so
sells out
sorry.
Madison Square Garden regularly and shit.
Still?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's pretty funny too.
Oh, okay. I have to check him out.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's got.
But anyways,
he's got the bit about like.
apparently he doesn't do any life-changing bits though.
He's got a bit about company. Like when he was growing up, company used to be a good thing. You'd hear a knock on the door, and it's great. And now,
Like, oh, I got good company coming
now,
over.
if
yeah.
you hear a knock on the door, you're telling your whole family to get the fuck on the ground. Who the fuck's at the door? You know what I mean? He's got some good bits.
Right
Werner
on.
Herzog
That
said
bit changed my life
There you go.
because I'm not a pompous ass.
Fuck yeah.
Who bangs 14-year-olds or whatever he did.
17.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's another thing. Did you know that Jerry Seinfeld was dating a 17-year-old when he was making Seinfeld as a 34-year-old? But it's okay
Nope.
in New York.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
What?
She was 17.
My bar's
were openly
my bar's
dating.
15 because Jimmy Page
Calm down.
was with a
I'm
15-year-old.
gonna stop you right there. Fuck off. Enough about you and your love for that cover band Led Zeppelin.
Okay, now.
I knew that would get you.
Fuck
They
you.
stole all their music. Is the point? But
No, they just happen to be the biggest fucking band in the world, and everybody wants a piece of it.
yeah, right. I mean, a piece of their openers.
Anyway,
We Neil deGrasse Tyson again.
That's what we do.
That is what we do. So I don't know. I guess any closing thoughts on the doc?
watch the fucking doc.
Yeah, watch it.
Like I said,
watch it
it's
and then do a
something
podcast about it.
you can just watch it over and over again. It's just as important to watch as, I don't know, anything you're learning in school.
Right.
I mean, Jesus
And
Christ.
I like so at the end they kind of do a big montage, and it's just him talking about how fucked he thinks the government is and like the American dream and like politicians are so fucked, and they show just about 80 pictures in a row of like different people in politics and people in culture who are
Current.
fucked up and weird.
It was so good, dude.
It was good, and what I liked about it, just like George Carlin, and unlike pretty much any goddamn comedians today, even the ones that are quote unquote philosophers, is it was completely bipartisan. Like he would have George Carlin would have bits where he'd be like, these fucking Republican conservatives do this, and he'd have another bit where these fucking liberal Democrats do that. And in that montage they showed fucking, a picture of Obama that says like I have a drone.
Yeah.
And then they had pictures, of course, like of Trump and everyone, and they had one with like Trump and Bill Clinton shaking hands and like all this shit, and it was just like, that's right. Like it's not
It's
fucking
the system.
Yeah, and like we've had like we both love Adam McKay, but that's one thing that drives me fucking nuts in Adam McKay's movies is the end moral of all of his movies are like Republicans bad, Democrats good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the Democrats are doing the same thing that you're fucking complaining about in this movie.
There's a South Park
Yeah.
episode about that where about the recession, and Kyle takes all the debt.
Yeah.
because he's the Jesus
bank
figure.
one? Yeah.
Yeah, and it ends. It's just like, and who do we have to thank? Barack Obama. Yeah, and that's a perfect thing. It's just like, thanks, man. It's like, no. It's the whole fucking thing.
Right.
Nobody said it until George. Nobody said it until him.
And he wasn't afraid to criticize anyone.
Jim Jeffries would have never had his whole famous gun control bit unless George Carlin existed.
Yep.
That would have never happened unless George Carlin.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know who else loves George Carlin?
Your mom?
Our girl Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, Tulsi.
Tulsi loves George Carlin
I
and has
believe
talked
it.
about George Carlin on Joe Rogan before.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, Tulsi's got a good head on her shoulders. She's based. She knows what's up.
An old guy came to the UPS store the other day and he was shipping Brain Droppings, George Carlin's book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just set it down. I was like, I need to ship that. And I was like,
Nice.
Yeah,
that's
hell
what's up,
yes.
dude.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
I'd love to
dude.
read that.
Yeah.
I'd love to read that. I
I was
need
like,
to check that out.
You're the fucking man. Just some old, 65-year-old dude. I was like, you get it.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
bro.
and also, you're too old to understand that you could just buy a digital book for your
Yeah.
friend.
I respected what he was doing.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, nice, bro.
It's
it on paper.
it means a lot more when it's something physical you can hold in your
Yeah.
hand. I sound like a fucking hipster. God damn it.
Yeah, that's
No, I'm the same way.
what
I mean,
happens.
I've done a lot. I have a shitload of audiobooks on Audible, and I listen to fucking none of them.
Because that's not reading a book.
It's not. Yeah, it's too because
Nothing-
you always do that while you're doing something else, and you're not giving it your full
You know
attention.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You ever hear people like, oh, I'm reading this book, and they have headphones in? It's like, you're not reading a book.
No,
You shouldn't be able to say
you're
that.
listening to a guy talk about a book.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane that you think that's reading a book.
Right. Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
It's not the same. I mean, I love podcasts and shit, and I've done some audiobooks, but it's just not the same
No.
for sure.
You take this podcast we're doing right now and you put it in a book, it would be way more influential than just listening
People would
to us.
actually recognize us for the philosophers that we are.
Exactly.
Goddamn
We'd
right.
finally get booked.
we finally get some TikTok followers.
Oh my God. I've been trying to do a bit about TikTok for fucking ever. We might as well talk about it on here. I think TikTok is ruining stand-up comedy.
I don't have TikTok, so I wouldn't know.
I don't have it either. I think
We
it's
don't.
ruining. The way I wanted to go with the bit, I'll just fucking is like Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith.
Yep.
And the angle I'd go at is I think that's good. He got slapped. I think more comedians need to get slapped. Maybe then we'd have less assholes on TikTok posting shitty 30-second clips,
Yeah.
and we can just go back to stand-up being a live art form.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy. I'm George Carlin, basically.
Just telling it as he is.
I think
Man
it is. I
knew
think
it.
it's fucking ruining.
It is.
People
It gets some
booked.
exposure though, at least.
They also
For a
rely on the
30-second clip, dude.
on just the clip, just the bit.
That's it. Oh, this guy does stand-up. Book him. It's like, all right.
It's an experience. It's a start to finish experience, and if anyone has seen a good amount of Norm Macdonald, they understand that. How many callbacks he has that go all the way back to the beginning of his set and
Yeah.
shit, pretending to now. It's taking it out of context.
But it's
big
also
time.
like you do a 20-minute set, and these people saw a 30-second clip of you on TikTok. 3 minutes in, they're gonna be on TikTok. Like, oh, TikTok's way better than
Yeah, I'm bored
this.
already because my
It's
attention
ruining the
span
live
is.
experience. I maybe that's me being
Well,
cynical.
I mean, we were talking about that with Bruce Gray when he was here about
Yeah.
the difference between the Comedy Store and the Improv in L.A. Which, like, if you want to be the Comedy Store, you got to be a fucking legit comedian. Whereas the Comedy Store, or excuse me, the Improv will be like, oh, fucking Jeremy Piven is headlining tonight.
Yeah.
oh
or
my
fucking
god,
YouTuber.
Yeah, or that Trevor Wallace fucking guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't you that was telling me that nowadays most of the people that get hired to SNL are all just like YouTube people?
I mean, a lot of them.
Oh god.
I mean, that's how. I mean, it started with Sandberg. Andy Sandberg was the first one to get hired on SNL just because of YouTube videos.
Gotcha.
And
That
then
makes
it's
sense.
a lot of people since then. That's the same with Kyle Mooney and that
Yeah.
other guy that's on there with him.
And those
They
other
did-
3 dudes, I think, that are currently on it.
I don't even watch. No one watches.
Colin
anymore.
Jost was a stand-up,
Colin Jost
and
was a
so was
stand-up.
Michael Che.
Which is
They're
why
both New York
those-
stand-ups.
Yep.
Are pretty much the only 2 funny people on that fucking show
Dude,
anymore.
Michael Che's really funny.
Yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Che's really, really,
Oh,
really
yeah,
funny.
Yeah, and I think we've even said it on here before, but every time we talk to New York comedians and stuff, or I hear them talk on a podcast or something, they're always like, Che's the man.
Yeah.
Like, Che's like the dude.
Yeah, he's the fucking head writer there, too.
Yeah, he's a
It's
stud.
insane.
No, Che's awesome. Yeah, now, I don't know. I mean, the Like we were talking with.
I hope TikTok just dies though. Is what I hope in 2 years it's no longer a
the
fucking
smartphones
thing.
and shit. Like we were
You
talking
can
about.
go back to getting booked for being funny.
I mean, that still exists. I don't. Not to be too cynical, that doesn't not exist anymore.
Yeah.
But a lot of places will be like,
But
oh,
how
you
many
want to
good
do
comedians aren't getting booked because someone on TikTok has more views than them?
Well, if you were like talking about going to Boise trying to get a gig, if you were like, hey, I want to come back and also have 1 million whatever followers, then you'd have a lot easier time.
Yeah. But I would also have no soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm not saying that's a good thing.
I can't compromise that.
Yeah, it's annoying.
There's girls ordering
It's
like
like you know me in real life. You've seen me perform. Why
Yeah.
do I need to send you a fucking TikTok
Yeah.
video?
Did the people laugh?
The fuck,
Yeah.
dude?
When you saw me in person, did people like it? How about that?
How about
Yeah.
because that's what we're gonna be doing?
They just want to fill seats. They want someone to be a draw, and unfortunately, that's a way to.
You
be
think
a
there's
draw.
any end in sight?
No.
it's
No?
the same thing with music too. And nowadays it's not about context. It's like how many people follow you on Facebook.
Yep.
Are you worth showing up on this stage in Denver? It has nothing to do with are you good or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
But also,
the way
Absolutely
so it is now,
terrible.
and it's treachery because it works against people when they don't even realize it too. Like for example, Netflix
yeah.
never puts on how many people have actually liked, disliked, or watched this. They just put a percentage of how much it would be recommended for you.
Right. That's something that I think Rogan was talking about with somebody recently on his podcast. Is that like anything else you do, you can see how many downloads it gets. So you put your like comedy on Spotify or whatever. But if you put a comedy special up on Netflix and you come back like 6 months later and you go to Netflix, like, hey, how many people watched my comedy special? And they're like, yeah, it was pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, they won't tell you. I think part of that
That's
is
why
'cause-
fucking Rob Schneider can get some fucking stand-up special on Netflix.
That's
yeah.
because they keep putting people up who fucking suck.
Oh my god! It's so bad. Or Leslie Jones from SNL. Why did she have a stand-up special? Oh my god, it was so bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, part of it is that.
But now I'm racist for saying that.
Right, exactly. I would say part of it is just that they're trying to fill woke quotas and shit, and they're like, well, we need a guy to represent this group, and so they put it up just to say that they did it, and they don't actually care if anyone
Right.
watched it.
Right.
Your woke quota. I like that.
The woke quota. The woke
do.
quota? No, that doesn't work.
Woke quota. That works just
I
by
was trying
itself,
to
though.
smash them together. No,
Yeah.
woke quota is good.
Ooh. Speaking of wokes, I have a topic.
The Rainbow Fest?
The Rainbow Fest
Oh yeah.
is
Get a
coming
little more
to
local.
Routt County. How do we feel about this, Matt Newland?
I could give a shit. I could honestly give a baker's fuck, dude.
You're not going?
I'm not gonna go.
You're
I'm
not
actually
gonna
gonna
see-
be gone.
I think it's like kind of like going to the zoo.
I'll be in Boise, thank God. But I don't care about them.
Oh, I don't
or where
either.
they
It's
are.
just observant. It's like going to a Kid Rock concert. I'm just people watching.
So you're excited for it?
I'm not excited. I'm just accepting it. When I first saw it in the paper, I went, "No!" You know,
Yeah.
No,
I
he
know
actually-
I know what this is. It's an army of smelly douchebags, and they're
Well-
they all, we're you know I grow weed for a living, so you can call me a hippie, but I'm a fucking productive member of society.
Yeah.
And I'm not just going to be coming to the produce section of City Market trying to shower and pee and shit.
I've heard horror stories.
I've heard
I'm
bad shit.
curious to see how many people actually show up and if it's actually going to make a difference or anything. But I'll say this, and I won't use a name, but we know the person who is organizing the Rainbow Festival, and this person is the weirdest goddamn fucking person
Yeah.
I have ever met in my entire fucking life.
Yep.
When this person talks to me, I want to shoot myself in the head.
Does he go by some name like Galaxy Honey Drop or something?
Oh, what were the names in the paper, dude?
Oh
I was
God!
dying.
Yeah,
Those were-
so whoever was writing
it
the
was like
article,
Butterfly Wings was one of them.
yeah, they'd be like Brian Johnson, aka Star Moon,
yeah.
or his rainbow name Star Moon.
Rainbow
They
Yeah.
name
wouldn't
Star
even
Moon.
give the real name. They would just give the rainbow name.
My
Star Moon
fucking
walks her
God.
duck.
20,000 hippies coming into the middle of the forest.
Is it that many?
Oh,
Could be
Kyle, it's like a
anywhere
music festival without the
Anywhere
music.
from 10 to 30,000 people is what they were saying.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
There's already
Do you
a
see how
couple
this can be
thousand lined
invasive
up.
in a town?
Wait, where is it at?
I believe it's going to be in Meeker or outside of Meeker. If not, I thought
I
it
thought
was
it
going
was
to
a
be
little
Oak Creek.
north of Craig is what I thought.
Oh,
and
God.
it goes, yeah.
So what you're saying is
So
that I
it's
should
like-
put up some posters around there
Oh my
and
god.
try to
Just go
monetize
do a
these.
show, man.
Yeah.
like
They
the
don't
like
have
comedians do at
money.
Bonnaroo.
I'll show up with like a tie-dye headband, be like, you guys like to laugh, man? You
don't
want to see
have
some
money.
jokes?
They've
Yeah, they
come-
don't have any money.
they
They'd show
won't.
up and try to, like, they'd sit outside and try to bum cigarettes
They
off
try to
people.
trade you a bracelet to get it into the show, dude.
I got some beads.
This is what
Yeah,
I was telling
no.
my boss, who runs Billo. He was just like, I just see nothing but dollar signs. What are you talking about? I was like, yeah. Until they show up and they're like, can I get an eighth of weed? I have some patchouli and a crystal.
And they-
it's like, no. And they're like, well, we don't believe in currency because we live in a planet with no borders. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah. And they're bringing their own weed. Their toots.
Oh God, yeah.
And their own
Guaran-
heroin and
Guarantee it. Yeah.
Well,
They're not
that was
gonna
in the article too, where they were like, "Well, last time they were here, there was a dispute, and it got violent." And then it was like a quote from one of the Rainbow people. It was like, "Oh well, yeah, there was a dispute because there was accusations of pedophilia, and someone pulled a gun, but we don't normally have guns there. It's a gun-free zone."
Oh,
what
is
the
it?
fuck?
Yeah, I just kind of you're reading that, and you're like, "What?"
Well, that's also
Jesus
the issue
Christ.
just with the volume of people is like
You're gonna get weirdos.
there's not that many ambulances in Steamboat. There's not that many search and rescue people. These people
Yep.
go and walk on a fucking trail and get lost. Like, how many reserves do you need? And I don't know if we have
mean,
enough.
There's a lot of festivals. Is this one just like exceptionally retarded compared to other ones? Is that
No.
the
It's
gist?
not, see, festies are cool because there's music. There's a point to going to it.
This is just people just all just hang.
They just
out.
want to get together in
Yep.
peace and harmony. There's a lot of fucking drums.
Yep.
That's
Get
it.
together and just share community.
It's like 20,000, an army of 20,000 hippies going through a forest. That's not normal. That's going to do something. And it's not like they could just say, hey, we're scheduling this date and this time and getting a fucking permit. They just show up. Like assholes looking for cigarettes at the ponds.
Yeah.
You know? Hey, can I borrow anything? That's Rainbow
I'm
Gathering.
sure they all are environmentally conscious people, but it's just the sheer number.
They
sheer
dig
volume
dig
is gonna
they dig a
do-
40-foot trench in the forest and they all shit in it.
Yeah, that'll. I mean, that's
Really?
Good. That's good.
That's
for
a
grass.
true story.
That's what they do.
That's what
they
they
don't
do.
rent porta potties.
Nope. They're all natural. They don't need anything because they're human. You know, they're rainbow people.
Imagine that
They don't-
trench.
It's called the Rainbow Family Gathering. If you want to look it up.
I don't. I don't want to do that.
I think we should go. I think we should go and people watch and laugh, and you can come up with material.
It would. I think it'd be like
So we got a show this weekend. Which
it'd be like watching your parents do porn. You'd just be like, oh, this could be funny later.
I hate
But-
you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks,
I don't-
Matt.
I don't want
You
to
really
watch
know how to put things in
I
perspective.
don't want to watch this. Like I said, I watch it. I'm like George Carlin. I'm a philosopher.
Just- Thanks for the philosophizing there. I needed
Yep.
that one in my life.
Oh, what would George Carlin think of rainbow people?
Oh God.
I wish he was.
You
want
want to talk about a parasite on society?
Fucking rainbow people. Oh God.
It'll be interesting. That's wild.
It's going to be interesting. I didn't realize it was that many humans. Is it this weekend?
July 1st through the 7th, I
word.
believe.
Oh, sweet. I'm going to be out of town.
Me too. It's gonna be lead.
Nice.
But they're already showing up is the thing, so it's not like a
Yeah, I
set,
saw a
like-
couple in Craig at the Walmart.
Do they all just have rainbows on? Is that how you know it's them?
No, they
Tie-dye
just look
and,
like
like,
fucking whoops.
They all have vans.
Well,
and
there's already
buses
wooks
and-
here.
no,
you know
not
what I
like
mean?
these.
Not like these.
You,
These are extra level
You're
wooks.
gonna
Yeah.
know. You're gonna know.
it's like you're just these people are so high
you're
because
not
there's
gonna
no
want to know, but you're
blood
gonna
flowing
know.
to their head because the dreads are wearing them down. Like, yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, the Rainbow Festival. Well, I mean, these idiots got to do something somewhere, I suppose.
Yeah, they're just killing time like the rest of us.
Yeah, right. They're all just waiting to die,
Hey, they're just fucking camping, bro.
Yeah, they're jamming.
with the occasional pedophilia and gunfight.
You know,
You
That's
know.
insane.
You know how it is.
my friend Harry at work, who's in a motorcycle club, he said he wanted to go up with like 10 of his boys with pairs of scissors and go to try and cut people's dreads off. Just watch them like be non-confrontational and run away. Like, just hey man,
Yeah.
hey man, stop.
That was
It's not cool.
That just reminded me of like early days of the internet. There was a guy when selfie sticks were first a thing. A guy would just walk around with like shears and just cut people's selfie sticks in half.
So good. That's what
It was
we
like
need.
right in
Not
front
all
of him.
heroes wear capes.
Yeah, seriously. Some of them have shears.
I'd watch that TikTok video.
Yeah, God, yes.
Fuck.
That's
God.
so fucking tight.
So the point is, don't go to the Rainbow Fest.
Watch the George Carlin doc.
Delete your
watch-
TikTok.
Delete your TikTok. And come see us this Friday and Saturday with Corey David. Corey David, he's also
KD.
I
He's
got to-
everywhere. He's going a lot of places right now.
Yeah, no, he's doing great. He's blowing up. He's going to Austin all the time and stuff. Fucking really funny dude. He deserves it. He puts in the work. And he's got a great show that he runs in Denver too. It's not. He doesn't do.
I think he does a Carbondale one too.
Is
I
that
don't know
what
if
it
he's
is?
on that a lot or if he runs it, but he's there a lot.
I feel like an asshole because I did a show the last time I was in Denver, and I can't remember the name of the brewery it was at, but it was a really cool, really small, intimate room, and I had a great time doing it. Fuck, I can't remember the name of this brewery, this tiny brewery.
Is it called the Tiny Brewery?
It's called the Tiny Brewery,
That you can't remember the name of?
and they only serve beer in shot glasses because it's very tiny.
It's tiny.
You got to duck to get in.
The bartender is 2 children wearing a trench coat.
And the top one's hitting his head on the ceiling.
Call back to Matt Newland. That's
That's
not my
right.
joke.
It's not my joke either.
It's like, that's
We were
just,
talking about just how funny it is that just 2 children in a trench coat.
yeah.
Trying to
It's
act
just
like a man.
funny.
It's like one of those timeless, like pie in the face things that will always be funny.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
people stepping on rakes. It's just always going to
Oh, that's a good
like
one.
little kids falling down, always going to be funny.
Little kids will always trip too. If
They're
you watch them
so
long
dumb
enough
and clumsy. Yeah.
and don't get caught, they will trip.
They will
Oh,
fall.
Mine's
they will fall.
and you will laugh.
fat people on diving boards. That's great. Oops, bonk.
Just boom, boom, they
And
just
it
fall
ends with
over.
a big unorganized splash.
Yeah.
It's great.
They come up with a head wound.
A good fart is always funny.
Of course.
Nothing funnier than that.
A well-timed fart. Always good.
Mm-hmm.
A wet fart.
That was a very early South Park bit. It was Kyle would always go, "You want to know what I think?" And they go, "Yeah." And he go, "Pfft."
That was like, early seasons.
"Early." That was like his go-to. That was like his thing.
We can agree they're the best of all time.
Oh, of course, the best. Shout out to Matt and Trey, friends of the show.
Friends of the show.
The best, not
They,
not just writers, not just showrunners, not just fucking. They're the best of all time.
And also Steamboat Springs residents occasionally.
Kyle and I were shitting our
They were in
pants
town.
watching Streaming Wars. Did you watch Streaming Wars?
No, I didn't. 'cause I
Oh
don't
my
have-
fucking
It's
god!
very good.
Again,
Paramount
going back to
Plus.
what you guys were talking about earlier, like it is the perfect example of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They're taking an unbelievably silly approach to a very, very serious concept.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really fucking cool.
Damn.
And
That's what we
it-
should watch after this. We got it.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
I'd be down
yeah.
to watch it.
I gotta
And
watch so many things.
on the
dude.
map for the
I
show,
know.
Colorado, Steamboat Springs is on it. What up?
It
That's
always
true,
is.
yeah.
Even in a lot of their episodes too. Like even in the regular seasons. Like if there's ever a weather or anything, they always throw Steamboat on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they're homies and they know what's up. They're friends of the show.
I
Friends
sold
of
him.
the
I
show.
sold Matt Stone Cliff Bars.
Did you?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah,
I've never seen either one of them.
He was up at Thunderhead, and he was with a bunch of kids that looked like mentally exhausted. Like he was like doing a bunch of shit with kids that day. And he came into Thunderhead, and he got ibuprofen and 4 Cliff Bars. And I said, "How's it going?" And he was just like, "I've been better." And I just
You're
was
like, "I love
smiling
you."
and everything. He's just like, "How you doing, man?" I was like, "Great now, man. I'm a huge fan. I love everything you do." He's like, "Oh, thanks, man." And he's just like, how you like working here?" I was like, "Oh, I like it, but I miss Montana a lot." He's like, "Oh, I want to buy a place in Big Sky really bad." He
Oh,
said
nice.
he loved the Big Sky area, and yeah, he went about his way.
Nice.
Yeah,
They're the best. I met Trey once. I told him the same thing. I was like, I love your show. He's like, oh, thanks, man. That was it. But then I called my buddy who was working at the ticket office. I was like, yo, Trey Parker's here. Look out for him. And like 20 minutes later, Trey Parker walked up to his stand. And my buddy goes, are you who I think you are? And Trey Parker goes, Tom Petty? It was right after Tom Petty died. It was right after Tom Petty died. It's so good.
he just can't help it. Even in real life, he
Yeah.
can't.
I think
Oh
you're-
my god, that's so good.
Tom Petty?
Tom Petty.
Oh my god, that's great.
It's the best, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, they're definitely the best. I appreciate people when I ask them, what your political views are, like South Park kind of nails it. Yeah.
What's your political views? South Park?
And the Streaming Wars, it does get a little political at the end too.
Yes.
It kind of ends on like a whoa, like that was a stance I didn't expect. I don't
Yeah,
know,
got a
I guess,
little
yeah.
serious at the end,
Yeah.
kind of giving a fuck you to Colorado. Yeah, big
Yeah,
time.
interesting.
Yeah, no, they nail it.
Anyway, so I think that's a good place to wrap it up, boys. So yeah, the point is go check out the George Carlin doc. George
Come
Carlin's
support us
American Dream.
live.
Come support
in
us
real
live before it's extinct. Before live comedy is extinct.
Yeah, before TikTok ruins my favorite thing. Please come see us live. Schmiggities and the press.
Before
And the
Newland
whiskey
just
company.
caves and becomes a TikTok.
I won't. I
Influencer.
can't. I'd rather die alone with my dignity then get a TikTok.
Oh,
Dude.
that's so George Carlin of you.
Yeah. Right.
It'll all work out.
These fucking pricks on TikTok.
Oh my
what
God.
the fuck is this shit?
All dancing around. Yeah. It'd be great. It'd be great to see his take on that. But yes, come see us this weekend.
You think
the
George
24th
Carlin
and
would have a
25th.
fucking TikTok?
Fuck no.
Fuck
Exactly.
no.
My
He would still
No.
have a flip phone.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I have to have this.
He'd be like, what the fuck is Facebook? Suck my dick. Yeah. But it's going down.
Mark Zuckerberg's not even a fucking person.
Have you seen this guy? There's wires coming out of his ears. Yeah, this weekend we're going to be doing it live with Corey David. And then, the weekend after that, I'm going up to Oregon and Idaho, Sandpoint, Idaho, with Robbie the Fire Bernstein. It's going to be a great time. And then the weekend after that, we got Sean Patton, the actual friend of the show.
A real friend of the show.
A real friend of
Yes.
the show.
Thank God. Thank God he's our friend.
Yeah, he's the best. So we got some awesome things coming up. So keep it tuned to steamboatcomedy.com for all of our events.
How the
I'll
fuck
be growing
can you
weed.
get booked in Idaho, but I can't?
Well, according to what you said, you didn't even want to go to the place where
Yeah.
Kyle's going.
I booked you on this show and you said no.
I don't want to go to that show.
You're like, you're going to perform for a bunch of fucking Nazis? No, I'm all right.
I was like, there's going to be some KKK members there, bro.
I hope there are, just so I can be like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, you are in North Idaho, my man.
Is
Yeah.
Sandpoint that far north?
Woo! It's more north than where I went to college.
Is
which
it in the
pretty
Panhandle?
Fucking north. Not quite.
Not
But
quite?
it is right near.
I always
You can
got
get
the
to the
gist that
Panhandle with a walk.
it's like
Get to
on
the
edge of
jokes
hand.
about the Jews.
Yeah, right. Talk about the ones we hate. We'll see. That's how I'm gonna start. I'm like, so I'm in Northern Idaho. So how do we feel about black people?
And they were going to go,
They're gonna be like, fuck them. I'm like, all right, have a good night.
exactly.
So a Jew walks into a bank, and then you killed him, right? You're like, yeah, like, yeah.
Whoa. Check out steamboatcomedy.com.
Check out our podcast.
Yeah, can really use the numbers. All right, we keep Neil digress Tysoning
Neil
over here.
digress Tyson. That's the running joke from here until forever, dude.
It will never
We're
get
gonna
old.
Fucking rip it into the dirt.
Definitely not old already.
No, it's not.
Into infinity.
It's funny every time.
All lives are matter.
Fuck off. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next
Go
time.
fuck yourselves. I'm Bill Bear.
Who thinks is better than George Carlin?
Rain or shine, it's here to make you laugh. It's the Steamboat Comedy Podcast. It's the Steamboat Comedy Podcast.